Shalom, my dear friends, and welcome to Parasha Dvarim from the book of Dvarim and the last book of the 5 books of Moshe. So Hashem tells him, you have 30 days to live, and after 30 days you will be 120 years old and you will be passing on. So I have a question. What would we do if you were told you have only 30 days to do? What would you do? Moshe chooses to go and teach us from his great wisdom in his last 30 days of his life. So the question begs, do we really need to listen to an old man? And the second question is, why is he criticizing the Jews as he goes along? A lot of them, he would just give a hint, but within the hints, there is a criticism. What is he trying to do in his last 30 days? So to answer the first question first, do we need to listen to an old man? After all, isn't he passing? Should we just go on to a new generation and build something totally new and innovative, far from the past? Everyone needs to read the book Bufekur, The Blind Hour, by Sadek Hedayat. In this book, he tries to put away the old and go into the new. So, as you know, there are 3 kinds of writing in the world. The first writings in the world was all by the rich people, for the rich people. The second kind of books and writing that they came about was writing about what is real in our life. And then in the 20th century, as Picasso came in and as Freud came in, the ideology expanded that we are no longer like each other. We don't believe like with each other. So Freud comes to say that we all are unique and everybody is unique. So everyone has their own point of view. And for example, someone like Picasso takes that and he says, I'm not going to draw anything the way that thing is, which is realistic way of that thing. I want to draw that the way I see that. And then it creates a complete new way of looking at things. Monet does the same thing. And they create art which is not real, but only it's real from the point of view of the person who's expressing that. And this book of Bufekur is so important because it comes to personifies that. It's a man who's 28 years old and he writes this book and he wants to completely get away from the past. Everything in his book is that anything about the past is all dilapidated and need to be put aside. And then he wants to go to the future, create a brand new future that wasn't there before. Unfortunately for him, he leaves the past and he goes to the future that there is nothing except darkness for him. And now one of the things that Sadek Hedayat says that all Muslims in the world should study half an hour of a book, any book, instead of reading Quran. And by doing that, not only there will not be any more Muslims who cannot read, but also there will not be any more Muslims because they will be enlightened. This is his thinking, but as we see, he just puts away the past in his book, and his future is very dark. At the age of 48, he realizes that there is nothing except darkness left for him. He closes all the door, he opens the gas, and he commits suicide. So here we are having Moshe and having our system. What was the problem of Mr. Sadek Hedayat? What he's saying, the old created because some people wanted to abuse us. They wanted to use us to go build palaces and take our money and control us in every way possible. And look at this man, Moshe. He left the palace to come and be with us and to guide us. He left the palace to live in a very simple tent for the rest of his life, to be there for us. And then when you look at the Talmud, which is collection of some of the smartest people in the world, then you see that we are so privileged to have wisdom on the top of wisdom accumulated in Torah that shows the way. All you have to do is just compare life of a people who are observant, see how happy they are, how clear they are in their way, and how much their kids are committed to the family, to the love, to oneness, and they're very clear and they're not confused. On the other hand, you see, unfortunately, the Jewish people who are not observant, they are falling apart from every way. And their kids and their grandkids have a very big chance of not being Jewish anymore. But worse than all of them, it's really sickening to see how confused they are. So, yes, we want to listen to this old man Moshe because he has not come here to abuse us. He has not come here to build palaces at our expense. Exactly the opposite. He gave up everything to bring us the wisdom. And this wisdom has been created over and over and over the 3,334 years ever since Moshe's passing away. And the second question is, why is he seem like that he is critiquing us, and he's being critical about the way we have been in the past? To really answer this question, I've tried to do a lot of research. As you know, one of my favorite people of all time is Molavi. He is a Muslim. He was a Muslim priest, a preacher, just like anyone else. But he met this guy, Shams Tabrizi, and Shams lead him, shows him the way that he becomes one of the greatest human being ever lived. So, wouldn't you want to know what was it that Shams taught him that he became so great? So Moulavi himself, he says that what I have learned is that me and every human being only has to do one thing. We need to do one thing for our greatness, and what is that? Is to open up all the ties over the ties that ties us up. And if you open up those ties, then you will find freedom. And that's interesting, but there's a lot of understanding is required to see what he says. Then we come to Carl Jung, which in my opinion is absolutely the greatest psychologist ever lived. And Carl Jung has an amazing theory that he says, you and I and no one else lives their life. We live the life of our shadow. What's a shadow? Every time that something happens to us, we get an impression. And the impression builds on the top of the impression, on the top of the impressions. And then we become all those impressions that is keep living. And so we're not living life. And if we want to be free from it, we need to give all of those up, which each of these sayeh, each of these shadows like a knot that bites us down. Let this go, let that go. And then once we let all these ties to go and we are free, and then we come to the understanding of what Moshe is talking about. He's trying to open up all these ties. He's trying to get us to go away from the life of a shadow to the life of who we are, because Torah begins by saying that every human being is created in the image of Elohim. So we all can be great. The greatness is in us. What stops us is all these knots, all these shadows, and by helping us to discover this nuts, this shadow, this great man Moshe Rabbeinu, lead us away from a life that we live, which is not a life of our own, to live the life of our own with so much love and commitment that he gave us. Shabbat Shalom.